Good day, students. I'm Shifula Dama for the presentation of Numeracy and Mathematics, DPP NM31. This presentation is a combination of April, August, and November examinations for 2018. I repeat again, it's a combination. In this presentation, I'm presenting to prepare you for the April examinations, August examinations, and November supplementary examinations. On the first slide, you can see that my number is there, which is 08124299074. And this number is to be used in case you have got any questions or you need assistance as you prepare for your examinations. We proceed. I've already said you are welcome to the study course for Numeracy and Mathematics 3. Here at IOL, we wish you all the best in your studies. When you need to set time aside specifically for your studies in order to succeed, here I've put together some useful ideas about the 2018 examinations. Be motivated and on track with your study course and achieve the qualifications you want. On the examinations, each and every examination have got instructions, and I've just put a few of those instructions on this slide. The first instruction is questions should be answered on the question paper. Number 2, the mark allocation is a guideline for the time needed to answer each question, not only for the time but also for the marks that you will get. In mathematics, I expect that you show your calculations for more mark. Number 3, write neatly and legibly. As you write your examination, don't panic. That's the only way you will write in a neat, nice handwriting, and then I will be able to read and mark and accord you or give you more marks. Number 4, students can use a calculator during the examinations, NM31 examination. Number 5, show all your calculations, and I've put this one in bold. I emphasize, show your calculations as to how you get the answer. Some of the questions will say write the answer only. You can punch on your calculator and you write down the answer for 1 mark. But if I indicate 2 or more marks, there I need to see how you arrive to the answer. So you need to show your calculations. Number 6, no unauthorized material or notes or technical devices may be in your possession during the examination, which means don't copy. Don't take in anything to help you. You need to study before the examination and just be prepared in order to succeed. I made life very easy. On this slide, I have given you the topics. And as you can see, on your left-hand side is a list of topics, and then I've indicated that topic you have to put more emphasis during the April exam, or is it during the August exam, or is it during November examination. I know very well that once it's a combination of all examinations, you will probably get excited and just a bit mess up a bit. As you can see, the first one, number sequences, you can see, do I need to put more emphasis? And I want, before we continue, I want to tell you, you have to pay attention to all your topics for all examinations. Here, I've just indicated where you have to pay more attention. Number sequences, you can see, you can prepare that one for the April, August, and November examination. Rounding off, you can see where I've ticked types of numbers. Here, you can also see mathematical shapes. You need to know your mathematical shapes. For example, circle, rectangle, trapezium, parallelogram. What are we talking? And how does it look? You should be able to know how to draw them. Measure of central tendency. This one we are talking about. Under measure of central tendency, we are talking about mean, mode, media, range, and so on. You can also see that one of the topic here is probability, and then you should also revise or study ratio, rate, and proportion. And you can see you also need to study linear equations and their word sums. I also have got here simultaneous equations, factorization, simple interest, compound interest, high patches. Because we have got many topics in mathematics and we need to study them all. Time and distance, geometry, graphs, area, volume, mass. You should know how to use the formula of calculating area, volume, and mass to get the answer. Similar figures, Pythagoras theorem. You need to study linear expressions, subject of formula. They are all in your study guides. Subject of formula, I said that, line of symmetry, straight line, graph, transformation, trigonometry, bearings. You need to know these topics. And I don't want you to understand that this one, like geometry, is only coming, or let me say area, volume, and mass is only coming in April and August examination. No. Put more emphasis, spare some more time during those examinations, but you can still, for those who will be sitting for supplementary, they can still study that topic. There's no way I can tell you this one is not coming in, this is coming in, otherwise I'm not doing justice to our studies. Okay, those were the topics, just to help you so that you don't get confused. Working with numbers. Because one of the topics I said in those examinations is about working with numbers. You should know the multiples. I just gave you the examples of the multiples of 2, 3, and 4, but you need, as future mathematic teachers, we need to know all the multiples from number 1 up to number 12. There is no way we will expect our learners to know the multiples if we ourselves don't know them. We start from there. These are the basic of mathematics. Square numbers. If we are talking of square numbers, what do we mean? And I just want to draw your attention that numeracy and mathematics remain the same for the past years. It's a subject, it's a module that have been done by other students, so there is a lot of recordings on numeracy and mathematics. After you have listened or followed these presentations, go to all other presentations that are on YouTube and just listen to them, because they, in a way, are all the same. It's the same module over the years. You also need, as we say, square numbers. If I have to give an example of square numbers, which I have done in most of the presentations, if we are talking of square numbers, it's a number that you multiply by itself 2 times, and the answer is a square. For example, 1 times 1, in mathematics we write it as 1 squared, the answer is 1. Okay, 2 times 2, in short, in mathematics we say 2 squared, and the answer is 4. 3 times 3, which is 3 squared. As a mathematics teacher, you should know your sums by heart. Don't rely much on a calculator. And as I'm doing now, I don't have a calculator. I just know my mathematics by heart, and I expect my students to also know their maths. Some of these are basics. We should put time aside. 4 squared, which will give us 16, and then 5 times 5, which is 5 squared, which will give us 25, 6 squared, which will give us 36, 7 squared, which will give us 49, 8 squared 64, 9 squared 81, 10 squared is 100, 11 squared is 121, 12 squared is 144. I know my square numbers. I could go on up to 15, up to 20, but I'm just requesting you to know the square numbers by heart up to 12 squared. Okay, we continue. You should also know, when we are talking about prime numbers, what do we mean? A prime number is a number that is only divided by 2 numbers, 1 and itself. A prime number have got 2 divisors. It can only be divided by 2 numbers. Which are those 2 numbers? 1 and itself. For example, 2 is a prime number. It can only be divided by 1 and 2. 3 is a prime number. It can only be divided by 1 and 3 itself. 5 is 7, 11, 13, 17 can only be divided by 1 and 17 itself. Okay, I also expect you to know about the cube numbers. Cube numbers, now that you understand what square numbers are, you multiply a number by itself 3 times. cube number 2 times. Cube numbers, you multiply a number by itself 3 times. For example, 1 times 1 times 1, 3 times. In mathematics, we say 1 cubed, and then the answer is 1. 2 times 2 times 2, you multiply 2 by itself 3 times, and then in short we write it 2 cubed, and the answer is 8. 3 times 3 times 3, we write it 3 cubed, and the answer is 27. 4 times 4 times 4, 3 times 4 cubed, you should know them by heart, and then you come up with the answer. 5 cubed is 125, 6 cubed, and so on and so on. You should know your cube numbers up to 12. 12 times 12 times 12, you multiply 12 by itself 3 times, you should be able to know the numbers or the answer. I don't mind if you only learn up to 10 times 10 times 10. You multiply 10 by itself 3 times, 10 cubed in mathematics, and then you get 1,000. I also expect you to know even numbers. Now I leave that up to you to, most of you know what even numbers are. All those numbers that can be divided by 2. I also expect you to know about odd numbers, etc. We've got in mathematics, we've got many types of numbers. I just gave you examples here. If we start discussing about all of them, all the types of numbers that we are having in numeracy and mathematics, we won't finish. Okay, we proceed. I also expect you to study about sequences. Sequences is a line of numbers. I give you the first numbers, maybe first 3 or 4 or 5, and then I say continue with the next numbers. For example, 1, 4, 7, 10. What are the 3 next numbers? 2, negative 1, negative 4, negative 7. What are the next 3 numbers? 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. What are the next 3 numbers? You should know now which rule. What did we do to 1 to get a 4, or to get to 4 to get a 7, and so on and so on. That one I leave up to you. You've got sequences in your study guide, and you should be able to pick it up. As I said, one of the topics that you should know or that you should study on to prepare for your exams, whether it's an April, August, or November supplementary examination, is simple interest. You should also know how to calculate simple interest. For example, an amount of, I just give you one example. Let's see if there are other examples in the next slides. An amount of 5,000 is invested for 3 years at the rate of 4% simple interest per year. That is now the instruction. I give you a story, and then the questions follows. What are we saying? There's an amount. For example, let's just personalize this one. You are having now your 5,000 Namibian dollars, and you want to invest it with the bank. When you go to the bank, a person will say, for how long do you want us to keep your money? For 3 years. Then you tell them, yeah, this 5,000 can stay in the bank for 3 years. And then they will say, okay, we'll invest it at the simple interest of 4%. After each year, we give you 4% profit of your money, or interest on your money. After 3 years, now we want you to calculate or to answer the following questions. Calculate the amount of interest earned after 3 years now. Sometimes I ask you, calculate the amount of interest earned per year. But here, I want you to calculate the amount of interest earned after 3 years when you go back to the bank. In the first year, you won't go because you didn't invest your money for 1 year. We are talking about 3 years. You will only go back to your bank after 3 years, and you want your money now plus the interest that you have accumulated, that you got from the bank, or that the bank have promised you. Now, for simple interest, we've got a formula. Simple interest. If you go to your study guide, you will see it. We have got PRT divided by 100. Now, P is the principal, is the amount of money. Principal is the amount of money that you are putting in the bank. Your 5,000 now. Rate is the percentage now. that they said they will give you interest on your money. T stands for time, the time that you are investing your money. And then for that we say simple interest is equals to 5,000 multiplied by, when there is no sign, we multiply. The rate is 4%, and you multiply by the time, which is 3 years. And then you divide by 100. There you should be able to know the simple interest that you will get after 3 years. Calculate, in B, I'm asking calculate the total amount of money at the end of the investment. Now, if that is what we are calculating, it's not 1,000, but it's 100 that we are dividing, which is just this 100. Calculate, in B we want, in A I just wanted you to calculate the interest that you will get. Now in B I'm asking you to calculate the total amount of money at the end of the investment, which means you are taking your 5,000 in B, you are taking now your 5,000 Namibian dollars, and you add the interest that you get in B. Then you get the answer that you will get. After 3 years, you go back to the bank, then you will see how much money will you walk away with. I said in those slides where I indicated the topics, I said you should also know about high purchase. High purchase, a good example is when you go to the furniture shop and you buy some furniture. Some furnitures, they are asking you, are you buying cash or on contract? That contract, we call it high purchase. You give a deposit, you go with a set of sofas or a set of chairs, or you go with your wardrobe or anything that you want to buy, or a table that you want to buy from the furniture shop, but you don't have cash, whereby they say give us a deposit and then you come every month and you pay this amount of money. We call it high purchase. Now the story goes, a new set of chairs cost 17,500 Namibian dollars. The set is available on high purchase by paying a deposit of 15%, followed by 24 monthly payments of 620 each month. Okay, now in A, the story, what does it mean? There is a set of chairs in the shop which cost 17,500 Namibian dollars. They will want 15% of that amount to be deposited. After that, for 2 years, which is 24 months, you are coming every month to pay 620. Now in A, I'm asking, calculate the amount paid as a deposit. So we want you to calculate 15% of that amount. What? They want calculate the amount paid as a deposit. Deposit, they said is 15%, which means you are taking 15%. Remember, the percentage is always out of 100. What I used to explain to some people, I say 15, and this is 1 and the 2 zeros of 100. If you want to remember, 15, the percentage is always out of 100. You multiply by the amount of the set of chair. You want to buy this set of chairs. We don't know how many chairs are there, but it's a set. Now you use your calculator to calculate and get the answer. You get the answer here. That is now the deposit, which is what? 15%. Percentage is always out of 100 of the total amount of the cost of a set of chairs. That is the deposit. Now they are asking you, find the total high purchase price after 24 months. Now how much will you be paying? Which means, and when I said there is a lot of marks here, because I will need you to show your calculation. Each step will count for a mark. In B, what do they want us to calculate? They want us, after you are done now, you are no more going back to the shop to pay. After 24 months, how much did you pay? Then you will have to take now your deposit, the deposit that you get here, and you add to the 600. First you take 620, multiply by 24 months. When you get the answer, this answer, because this is the installments that you will be paying every month. Now on that answer you add your deposit, and then you will get your hire purchase price that they will be asking. These are just examples. What I'm presenting here is not the questions that are coming in the examinations, is the topics. So don't expect exactly the same question unless you will be lucky. If you are lucky, you might find some questions are here and they will also be in the question paper. Then another topic that I said you should know and study for to prepare for your examination is measure or central tendencies. Here we are talking about statistics, and as I said earlier, here we study and then we answer based on the mean, mode, median, and range. For example, the example that I gave you there, I gave you a line of numbers, a list of numbers, if you like. And those numbers are 13, 18, 13, 14, 13, 16, 14, 21, and 13. Those are the numbers that I gave you. Then I say study the numbers above, or observe the numbers above as given, or look at the numbers above as given, and you calculate mean. You should know how to calculate the mean. Mode, you should know how to calculate the mode. You should also know how to calculate the mode as well as the range. If we look at the mean, you take all the numbers, you add them, and you divide by how many numbers. Let me just write this list of numbers here. I gave you 13, 18, let me just rewrite them. I'm talking about 13, 18, 13, 14, 13 again, 16, 14, 21, and then 13 again. When we are talking about the mean, you add these numbers together. You add them. Let me just take another color, maybe green color will do. We add them, we add all these numbers, and you have to show it for more marks. We add just to indicate that you know what you are doing. We add those numbers, and then when we get the answer after adding them, we divide by how many numbers are those ones. We are given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We divide by 9 numbers. We are saying when we are calculating the mean, you take all the numbers, you add them, and you have to show them the addition. And when you get the answer, you divide by 9. Where did we get the 9? We are calculating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have added 9 numbers. So we are dividing by 9, and we get the answer as our mean. You will get 2 or 3 marks there. Okay, the mode. How do we calculate the mode? We calculate the mode by, what are we saying? We are now talking about the mode. Mode is a word, you will remember if you say more, the number that is appearing most, many times. Now you look, because the answer is saying study the numbers, the list of numbers given, observe the list of numbers given, or look at the numbers given, or inspect if you like, and then you answer the questions. Mode is the number that is appearing more. If I look, I can immediately see that 13 is listed there many times. 13, so our mode is 13 without even calculating. There's usually only 1 mark there. And then if we are talking about the median, is the number in the middle. Okay, mode, we are saying what? Some words that will make you to remember the number that is appearing most, or the number that is appearing many times, or the number that is appearing more. So, and you remember these words by the word mode. The word also starts with more. Mode is the number that is appearing many times, or most, or more. Okay. Then we continue. I said you should also look at the list of numbers, and you should be able to calculate the median. when I was a student, I will come up with words that will remind me when I'm in the examination. Median is the number that is in the middle. How will I remember? I will remember that it's the mid. Even the way we start reading it is median is the number in the middle. How will I see which number is in the middle now? We don't just look at the numbers and we choose the one in the middle. We have to list them in ascending order, from the small one to the big one first. Which one is the small one? Let me see. If we start with 13, I think is the small one. We are having another 13, another 13. How many 13s am I having here? There are 4. The next one is 14, which is appearing 4 times. 2 times. 14 is only there 2 times. And the next number is 16, because I can't see 15 here. 16 is there appearing once, and the next one is 18, and the next one is 21. That is the list of number we are given. When we are calculating the median, there's 1 mark to list them in ascending order, to list them from the small one to the big one, 1 mark. From there you choose the one that is in the middle. In the middle, somewhere here, there is a number in the middle. 1 number on the right hand side, another number on the right hand, on the left. Okay, 1 number on the left hand side, another number on the right hand side. 1 number on the left hand side, 1 number. There are now 2. 2 on the left hand side, 2 on the right hand side. 3 on the left hand side, 3 on the right hand side. And 4 on the left hand side, 4 on the 5 on the right hand side. Now we can see there's only 1 number in the middle. So we write that median, don't just write 14, because I forgot what I've asked. Median is equals to 14. That will make me more happier when I'm marking, and I'll give you more marks. Full marks for that answer. Then we go to the range. How do we calculate the range? The range is the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number. How do we calculate the range? The difference between the biggest number and the smallest number. The biggest number we can see is 21. The difference we have to subtract. The smallest number is 13. So our range will be 21 minus 13. Our answer will be 8. If I'm not wrong. I don't use the calculator. I want to keep my mind active, so you should also do the same. But because in the examination you are in a hurry, yes, you show your calculations and you try to make sure with your calculator if the answer that you are thinking of or that you are calculating in your mind is correct. So 21 minus 13 is 8. The range or the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number is 8. We continue. Now we know how to calculate the measure of central tendency, or the statistics, or the mean, mode, and median. We go to the next one. You should be able to know or to study rounding off. Rounding off numbers. We have done this one at school. Even in primary school they are doing this. Rounding off the following. Round off the following numbers to the nearest 10. This one, you have got more examples in your study guide. You are given, they are saying to the nearest 10, so you are only concentrating on the number in the place value of 10. Number 1, Roman 1. 245. What are we saying? We have to round off the numbers to the nearest 10. 4 is the number on the place value of 10. We have to look at the number next to it. If it's 5 and more, 4 change to the next number. So our answer will be 250. What? We have to change the number on the place value of 10. Currently that number is 4. If the number next to it on its right hand side, you look at the number next to it on its right hand side. Yes. The number next to it is 5. If the number is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that number in the place value of 10 have to change from 4 to 5. If it was 5, it will change to 6. If it was 6, it will change to 7. It have to change to the next number. Okay, and what about if 5 was 4, 3, 2, 1, 0? If it's 4 and below, or 4 and less, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, that number won't change. If 5 was one of these numbers, then 4 will remain the same. Pardon me. Now you will be able to do Roman 2 quickly. Let's look at it. Okay, it's 6,858. Don't worry about other numbers. The question says round off to the nearest 10, which means we are only concentrating at 5. Why? Because 5 is on the place value of 10. Now, does 5 need to change or stays the same? How will I know? By looking at the number next to 5 on the right hand side of 5. The number next to it says change. Why? Because it's more than 5. If the number next to it is more than 5, then that number have to change. So our answer will be 6,860. That's the answer. This one become a 0. The number that instructed us become a 0. Other numbers, you write them as they are, because we are not concentrating on them. The next question, round off the following numbers to the nearest 100, which means you are concentrating on the number that is on the place value of 100. I can see number 3 is also written as number 2. That is just a typing error. Minor mistake, it have to be number 3, but let's look at number 2. Roman 1, 4,245. Round off to the nearest what? 100, which means look at the number on the place value of 100. Does it need to change or stays the same? We won't know until we look at the number next to it. The number next to it says stays the same. If it's 4, 3, 2, 1, that number won't change. So our answer will be 4,200. All numbers on the right hand side have to become 0, 0. Okay, what? 2 have to remain the same. Why? Because the number next to it is 4, and if the number is 4 and less, the number remains the same. It stays the same, and these numbers instruct us that it have to change. Okay. Then we continue. You will be able to do 2 Roman 2. If we look at number 3, which is rounding off, round off the following numbers to the nearest 1,000. Okay. Let me just do number 2. What number are we given? We are given 6,858. The number in the place value of 1,000 is this one. Does it need to change or stays the same? We will only know if we look at the number next to it. The number next to it is part of these numbers that says change. So that number on the place value of 1,000 will change. It's now 6. It will change to 7. It just changed to the next number. So our answer will be 7,000. Then if you understand that, you will get a full mark. If you don't understand, give me a call. The proper time, if I'm busy by that time, I will be able to call you back. Then another topic that you should know when you are preparing for examination is factorization of algebraic expression. I gave you a lot of examples in that slide. What are we saying? And I also gave you some notes. Okay. For you to factorize a number, you need to take out a common factor. A common factor is a number that can divide in both numbers or in both terms. Here we talk of terms. When you go to your study guide and you are revising or you are studying, because for the examination you don't need to revise, you have to study. When you will be studying for your examination, you will see that in order to factorize a number, you need to take out a common factor. For example, the example that I gave you here is 2a plus 6. Which number can divide into these two terms? It can divide in this term, it can also divide in this term. that number is 2. It's not 2a, it's just 2 because there's no a here. It's 2, so we take out. What does it mean to take out? You take it out and you create brackets. You take it out and you create brackets. The remainder will go in the brackets. That is factorization. Factorize, take out the common factor. 2 divided into 2a, we are only left with a. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and we don't write, when it comes to algebra, we don't write that 1. Then I'm done. Plus 2 divided, first I divide it into this term, now I'm going to divide it into this term. 2 divided into 6 3 times, and you close off your brackets. This is your answer. How will I know that my answer is correct, even though it's not needed in the examination? But some of you will just need to see if your answer is correct. If I have to take it back, back to the way it was, we just divide the number that is outside the brackets. 2 times a is 2a. 2 times 3 is 6. Then you know that your answer is correct. But to factorize, this is the answer when you are factorizing. Take out the common factor. Okay, let us look at the next example. You are given 3a plus 6y. Which number can you think of quickly that will go, that it will divide in 3a, or it can also divide into 6y? The number that I think of first is 3. 3 can divide in this term, 3 can also divide in this term. So if it's 3, we take it out, we open the brackets. We start dividing. 3 divided into 3a, I only remain with a. 3 divided into 6a, the sign remains the same, né? It's equals to 2y. 3 goes into 6 2 times, y just comes down. And then that is your answer. You have factorized. You should also be able to go into your study guide and revise and relate what is there to what is here in our slides. I also gave you an exercise that you can try by yourself. A, B, and C. Those 3, you get the examples from your study guide. I advise that in our community, there are schools. If you go to that school when you are studying for exam and you just borrow a grade 10 textbook, you will find a lot and a lot and a lot of examples and exercises, because our mathematics that we are doing for this diploma goes up to the level of grade 10. As a teacher, you are expected to know that knowledge. It doesn't matter whether you are going to teach junior primary or pre-primary. That is the knowledge that we expect you to know when you are doing this diploma. And in mathematics, that's the level we expect you to know. I said do this yourself. If you get stuck, I'm just a phone call away. But when you call me, I always ask, what do you know? Where did you get stuck? Don't just call me to teach you. We don't teach over the phone. We explain where you don't understand, and you should be clear on what you don't understand. We go to the next slide. I said you should be able to, for you to pass your examination, there are also some questions on linear equations. Then I just explained there in words. I put it in words for you. What is meant by a linear equation is an algebraic equation, which is a statement that it has 2 parts. Why do we say it has 2 parts? An equation have got some numbers on the left-hand side and equals to in the middle, and some numbers on the right-hand side. That is now an equation. It have got a part on the left-hand side and a part on the right-hand side. That's why we are saying it's an equation, or it's a statement that has 2 parts. It have got 2 parts because the first part is on the left-hand side of the equals to sign. The next part is on the right-hand side. Then we call that an equation. It's a statement that has 2 parts and an equals to sign in between or in the middle. An equation consists of unknown numbers or variables. In mathematics, those unknown numbers, we call them variables. We mostly use x and y, but we can also use a, r, or b, or any letter, alphabetical letter. but mostly or most of the time we stick to x and y. For example, we understand this statement that says x plus 5 is equals to 12. That is an equation. What does it mean? It means a certain number that we don't know. That's why we call it a number. In mathematics, if we don't know what number it is, we just name it with a letter. A certain number, if we add 5 to a certain number that we don't know, the answer will be 12. Some of you will be able to know immediately by heart that that number is 7. It should be 7. We add 5 to a 7 and we get the answer is 12. X is 7. Yes, but you only get 1 mark. If you tell me x is 7, you only get 1 mark out of 3 marks that is there. Because you didn't show me the calculations. I don't know where you get, yes, the answer is correct, but I don't know where you are getting this answer. You have to show me the calculations. And when it comes to linear equations, we've got ways of calculating. If there's only 1 mark, tell me x is 7. That's what you thought of, or that's what you punch on your calculator. But I'm not there. So we say all the numbers goes to the right hand side. X remain there alone. 12. Now we have to take what? 5 have to go to other whole numbers, to this side of the equals to sign. I said there are numbers on the left hand side, there are numbers on the right hand side when we are talking of an equation. X, because we want the value of x, 5 have to come here. Since 5 was positive, now it becomes negative. Why should 5 becomes negative? Because it has changed the sides. It moved from left to right. So the rule of mathematics says you have to change the sign. Therefore, x is equal to 12 minus 5, which is 7. Now this, just that I usually mark with a red pen. 1 mark for that, for showing me that it needs to move. Another mark to see that 5 have moved and we have changed the sign, and another mark for your answer. So you will be able to get 3 full marks out of 3. But if you are only giving me answers, I don't know how you arrive to that answer. I don't know if you look across to your friend and just see the answer and you give it. We don't know. I want you to show your calculations. I really motivate for the people to show their calculations. Now I gave you some examples. Not examples, but yeah, examples that you need to study or to try by ourselves. Solving linear equations. When it comes to linear equations, you should now know these points. You should be able to solve linear equations with or without brackets. Sometimes I give you linear equations with brackets. Solving linear equations that contains fractions. You can also be given equations which have got fractions. And most of the students, whenever they call me, it's about equations. I don't know why, but whenever you've got the questions on equations or any other topic in mathematics, I'm just a phone call away. Number 3, solving word problems by translating them into linear equations. What? Sometimes I give you a question where I use word sums, and then you should be able to understand English that is in word sums to come up, to draw or to come up with an equation, your own equations, and then answer. I'm only going to choose number 4 and 5 and 6, 4 and 6 and 7. I think from my experience, those are the ones troubling people. Because we have already done these ones without brackets, I will do the equations with brackets, that contains brackets, and the one that contains a fraction. I said I will do 4, which says quickly, because time is really against us, and we still have got more slides to go. All the numbers with variables, with unknown, have to go to the left-hand side. All the numbers which are whole numbers have to go on the right-hand side. Then we say, here 6x is already there. Now we have to take 3 to this side to join the other number with x's. Here is a positive number. When there is no sign, it's a positive number. 3x, which is positive, it becomes negative. Why should it become negative? Because it have changed the side. Is equals to, the equals to sign when you are writing should be in the middle under each other. Not one is here, another one is here, another one is here. It will confuse me when I'm marking, and I'll be sitting with around 200 papers to mark, and here comes your paper with things written or numbers written upside down. And then on this side now 3 went to the left hand side. Here we are having this whole number, which is 3. It doesn't need to change the sign because it's already on that side. But when we bring this negative 15 to this side, it needs to change from negative to positive. Positive 15. It was negative when it was on the left hand side. Now it becomes positive. When the number changes the sides, it needs to change the sign. Okay, 6x minus 3x is equals to 3x. 5 plus 15 is equals to 18. That is not the answer, because to solve the linear equation, we want you to solve for x. Okay, then we say we divide both sides by 3. In your study guide, is well explained. If you get a grade 10 textbook, it's even more clearly explained. 3 and 3, they cancel each other, because 3 divided by 3 is only 1. And in algebra, I say it again, that 1, we don't write it down. X is equals to, 3 goes into 18 6 times. The value of x is 6. If you want to see if it's correct, wherever you see x, you just put 6. You multiply that number that is next to x by 6. You should be able to balance your equation. So I'll leave number 6 and go to the last one, because number 6, let's quickly do it, because I don't think I have it in any of the slides. 5x minus 2. We close off the brackets, is equals to 6 multiplied by 6x. When they say brackets, we multiply. Minus 1. Let's see how it goes. We multiply, we take the number that is outside the brackets and multiply with all that is inside the brackets. 7, we multiply with all these numbers inside the brackets. You take 6, you multiply by all numbers inside the brackets. Now we have to be very, very careful with the signs, because we are now with equations, which is part of algebra. Mathematical signs, the negative and the positive, and when you multiply, you should know those rules. 7 times 5x is 35x. That is step number 1. Step by step, we don't need to indicate this one, because it will become, the equals to sign will be in the middle. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14 is equals to, can you see my equals to sign under each other nicely? Okay, 6 times 6x is 36x. Yes, 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Even when you punch it on your calculator, I know how you like your calculators. That is the answer that you will get. Now all the numbers with excess to the left hand side, all the whole numbers to the right hand side. 35x minus 36x. 36x was a positive. When it changed to the other side, it becomes a negative. On this side is negative 6. It remains, don't throw away that negative. Positive 14. It was a negative 14. When it changed and comes to the right hand side, it becomes a positive. Here, if you punch on your calculator, negative x is 1x now. Negative x is equals to positive 8. Is it positive 8? Yes, positive 8. Because when you know how to punch, I don't know how to punch the calculator. X is equals to negative 8, because the letter cannot be negative. We can't have negative letters. We can't have negative letters. When there's a negative letter, we divide both sides by negative 1 to get that negative 8. Okay, I said I just want to do one more with a fraction before we continue. We need to run through all this. 3 over 4y is equals to 6. There we want to get rid of, the fraction is disturbing us, we want to get rid of a 4. First of all, we multiply both sides by 4. Why? Because 4 is now dividing. To get rid of it, you have to multiply. Division and multiplication goes together. And you can't just divide, multiply on one side, you should also do on the other side. Okay, 4 and 4, they cancel each other. 4 divided into 4, you'll get that one. 3y, we remain with 3y is equals to 24. 6 times 4 is equals to 24. And then we want the value of y. Remember, we are solving for y. Divide both sides by 3. If we start giving reasons, and then y is equals to 8. 24 divided by 3 is equals to 24 divided by 3 is equals to 8, and then you get the answer. We want the value of y. Okay, the others you will be able to check out more examples in your study guide, and you just practice. The one we didn't, you practice. Okay, solve the following simultaneous equation. Again, 2x plus 9y. As you can see, these are two equations that you have to solve at the same time. 9y. In your study guide, you will find them saying you have to draw a line because it's two equations. This one is negative, this one is positive. In mathematics, they will say they cancel each other because negative and positive, and the numbers and the letters are the same. They cancel each other. Now we are only remaining with 5x. How did I get the 5x? 2x plus 3x is 5x. This side is equals to 10. 7 plus 3 is 10. Now we can solve it the way we have just explained. Divide both sides by 5. Why? Because you want the value of x. X is equals to 2. X is equals to 2. Then we have solved that equation. Simultaneous equations carry many marks, so you have to go to your grade 10 textbook or your study guide and just practice. Okay, changing the formula, subject of a formula. I gave you an example there. For example, make y the subject of a formula. You are given p is equals to let's do the first one. Make p the subject of a formula. What are we given? We are given 2r plus p is equals to q. Okay, now we want p to be the subject of a formula. What does it mean? Make p to stand on its side alone. So we say p is equals to q minus 2r, just the same as I explained with equations. Now 2r have to come to this side and change the sign. Now currently it's positive 2r, and then it becomes negative 2r. Now p is standing alone. There are 2 marks for that. Make the subject of a formula means let that letter stand alone. Another one that we are given here, make y the subject of a formula. What are we given here? We are given p is equals to 2my. How can we get rid of 2m so that y stands alone? The question says let y stand alone on its side. Here we just divide both sides by 2m. By 2m. Why? Because we want to get rid of this 2m. What should you do now for that letter to be a subject of a formula, or in other words, to stand alone? Therefore, the answer will be y is equals to p divided by 2m. And then you got the answer. It's good that I'm explaining, and if you don't understand, just discuss. I gave you some examples that you will be able to do by yourself. Ratio, rates, and proportion. Divide 400 in the ratio of 2 to 3. I've got a lot of examples where I've indicated how to calculate it in other previous recordings. Please go to that and see how to calculate the ratio. I gave you B, C, D, some of the examples, and you can find more examples and you practice on your own. Okay. I also have got the slide on how to calculate the area, and I gave you all the formulas that you need. If you are given numbers, you just substitute those numbers in those formulas. The formulas, mathematical formula, how to calculate the area, you should know them by heart. Not put them on the paper to go and copy. No, there you will, we won't even understand. We won't mark it. We will even just destroy your paper right away. You should know your work by heart. And I gave you some examples. And then when it comes to geometry, that's one of the questions. When to calculate the value of C, D, E, and F, on this question, there must be a number missing. And yes, there must be a number missing. I think in some of the slides you will be able to know, because you need that number in order to calculate C, D, E, and F, so we can jump this one. Pythagoras theorem, I explained how to calculate the Pythagoras theorem here, and what is important is I put them in words. You should be able to read and refer to what they are saying in your study guide or in other textbook, and then you just study. Even here, the calculations is done for you. You should be able to follow. Graphs, I also gave you a graph and a story and give you some questions. Please try to answer these questions in your spare time to prepare for exams. Straight line graph. This straight line graph, you should be able to know how to plot the points on a Cartesian plane or Cartesian coordinate system. You should also be able to know how to construct tables of values. Sometimes I give you a table and you should be able to calculate and give the answer. You should also draw or study how to draw and interpret a given graph of function. And with a straight line graph, the formula is always y is equal to mx plus c. I just said all straight line graphs are written in the form using y is equals to a good textbook of mathematics, and its title or its name is y is equal to mx plus c. I also encourage you to check out some practical examples. We can't do anything without the study guide. I just give you an example of a table and the formula you should use in order to fill in that table. That is just a Cartesian plane, so that you know when we are talking of a Cartesian plane, what are we referring to. A Cartesian plane, you should be able to know which side is the positive numbers, which side is a negative number. The y line and the x line, positive numbers up and to the right, negative numbers left and below. As I have indicated there, I just gave you an example of a Cartesian plane. Sometimes I give it to you, sometimes you have to. I ask you to draw it yourself, and if you don't know where to put the positive number, which side to put the negative numbers, you will not be able to get any marks. And the question, if I have to tell you, question on the Cartesian plane or on straight line graph, they can even go to 5 marks or 6 marks or 7 marks. Study these topics. Another Cartesian plane where I gave it to you and I just ask you to point. Where is the x? The first number is always the x numbers, and then second number is always the y value, x value and y value. I explained in some of the recordings. Please go through all the NM31 recordings, even for 2015, 2016, for last year, and then you just acquaint yourself with this. I also explained to you bearing. When it comes to bearing, what does it mean? I gave you some summaries there, some points, just to remind you and refer to what you will be studying in your study guide and in other books. Students, as I've mentioned, you need to check up some good, very, very good examples on the bearings in your study guide. Trigonometry, and the good part about this presentation, I've given you points, and the summary on trigonometry is there. Just read with understanding. Again, trigonometry, all those summaries are meant for you to help you when you are preparing for examinations. There's also a question on similar figure. Similar means the same, which you look at the figure D or figure C, but you will only understand when you read from your study guide. Transformation, I give you one question there, which led us to the, I just want to mention one point. I give the presentation for DPPE and DJPE. I hope I got it right. there's a tutor responsible for DJPE, and I only mark DPPE. That one should be understood very well. You just have to issue your coordinator, IOL coordinator. Actually, this is the end of our presentations. I just want to wish you all the best